Welcome back to Viewer's Voice. For this episode, I'm going to be talking about don't give up on yourself before the world does. And I don't mean that in the sense of don't give up on yourself or else the world is going to, even though that is a possibility. I mean that in the sense of keep going and keep having faith in your work and what you can pull off before the world does. Because the world is going to at one point. At some point, the people around you, the people that really do care about you, maybe not all of them, but a good amount of, and a good majority of them, at some point will stop putting as much faith and as much hope in you. And there's not much you can do about it. Some people run out of hope very quickly. Some people run out of faith very quickly. And some people aren't meant for the times where patience is very much necessary. Most people aren't, and most people you can't blame them for it because patience is something that isn't very common. Especially it becomes very less common the longer that they have to wait, which is very ironic for the term. However, it's fear. It's very fear. People have everything that they want to worry about, and sometimes you may not be in their best interest, and that's fine. But you don't want to take that and be like, okay, if other people are going to give up on me, now it's my time. Now it's my time to just figure that maybe I'm just not worth the investment. Maybe I'm not worth the attention, and maybe it's time for me to give up on myself as well. You do not want to have that outlook because it will not get you anywhere. Some people give up very early in the process, and that's why they remain where they are, or that's why they take different routes, because they couldn't see this one through. And that works out for the people, but you want to make sure that it doesn't work out for you. You do not work out for yourself by giving up on yourself. Just because this person, that person, whoever gave up on you to begin with, does not mean now it's your time to give up on yourself. That's not how it works. If you want to do that, make sure that you got to see the full extent of your potential before you believe that it's just time to let it go. And I'll tell you the harsh truth is you may never really be able to see your full potential, but that's all the more reason to keep going. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there. Doesn't mean that you should stop going after it. If someone else doesn't see it within you, that's dumb. They're not meant to see it in you because they aren't you. It's very hard to see what someone else has because some people can't even see what they have within themselves. So if someone can't see their own potential, what makes you think that they're going to be able to see yours? And vice versa, because technically it can be a little easier to see what else someone else has. We don't always have a mirror held up to us. So I might be able to see what this person does have in stock for themselves compared to what I have in stock. Because I may not be able to see what I have. I may not be able to see what I have behind me, but I can see everything about them with my own eyes. But what's important is that you take the time to look around, you take the time to look within yourself to see exactly what I could build on. No one else is really going to take that time to nitpick every last thing that you have going on, search every aspect of yourself to figure out what you can do with that, except for you. So if someone wants to give up on you in the first 2 minutes of the process, let them. That isn't your sign to now follow along their path, follow along their frequency, and just think that, okay, now it's my time to give up myself. If they can't stick it out and see me for what I can be, why should I? And I'll tell you the reason that you should do that is because simply they aren't you, and you owe it to yourself to see what you actually have in stock. Just because you know about the little things doesn't mean you know about the big ones. The little things come easy, they come fast because they don't require a big, huge brain and a lot of work to figure out how they work. If you find out early on that you're into certain things, certain topics, that's because you came across those topics very quickly, or maybe someone else brought it up to your attention, or you just kind of always knew, like, yeah, I've always been a fan of comics. Comics are my go-to, that's my thing. But there's other things that you won't find out about yourself into a lot of work and a lot of searching and a lot of just pulling out bits and pieces of your own character. People don't have that patience with themselves sometimes, and they aren't going to have it with you, and that's fair. It's not expected. You shouldn't expect it. If someone isn't being patient with you, if someone isn't being patient with your process, your journey, let them go be impatient somewhere else. But that doesn't mean that you have to sit there and just think about what you can do to get their attention back. You don't have to do anything. Some people have short attention spans, and they're simply meant to. They aren't meant to stick around to see how your journey starts and ends. Some people come and go. Some people show up and stay. Who knows? But what matters is that you stay from the very beginning of the journey and you see it through to the very end and afterwards. Just because the journey ended doesn't mean you just have to stop going. If you want to keep going in the same direction, or if you want to switch it up a little bit, do that. But don't give up on yourself and stop where you are, or start to backtrack to figure out where you can pick up again. Stay where you are currently and pick up off of that. That's how I feel about it. I feel like that's how you should feel about it, and you should always want to keep going. I also feel that most people, anyways, would much rather get upset with you for failing rather than help you succeed. So most people would rather sit there and watch you on your journey, and the minute they see you slip, fall, they will rather get upset with you than stick their hand out and pick you back up. It's simply just how most people process, how most people work. It's very unfortunate, but to be fair, some people really just don't know how to help, and you can't help with that. But the most you could do is understand where you can help yourself. Another thing, once again, is you can never change the perception that someone else has. If someone has a very different outlook on this, or a very different narrative that they spun on something, you can't really change that no matter how hard you want to. But you should be content with yourself enough and be well aware and well informed on the situation to come up with your own perception and your own ideology and narrative. Don't just take their word for it. Don't just go with the thing that they say. Because some people, truthfully, I'm be honest, they just don't know what they're talking about. And if it's about you, they most definitely don't know what they're talking about because they aren't you. They can't tell you everything about yourself, and you shouldn't let them either. If someone wants to run their mouth, cool, but at the end of the day, if you know something that they don't, keep it to yourself and just keep reminding yourself of what that one thing is or what those multiple things are. And another thing is, most people will strictly base someone more so on the experiences that they overcome or just simply endure. Some experiences people will never overcome because someone holds it against them so dearly. So some people will strictly define you based off of one thing, one experience, but you shouldn't allow yourself to be defined by that one experience, but rather allow yourself to be defined by the lesson you learned from it. If you've been to something that just is unfortunately looked down upon, that's not bad. We've all been in an experience or a situation that we obviously, even within ourselves, aren't too fond of looking back, or we figure we could have easily avoided that. However, unfortunately, we couldn't, and we didn't, and we were stuck in that situation when it happened. But that doesn't mean that you have to stay there. One of the most important things is remembering that you don't have to stay wherever you are. And even if you were in a place at one point in time and it was a bad place, don't keep reminding yourself of that experience. Don't keep binding yourself down to that one occurring, but rather take all the lessons you can from that experience and tie it into your character. Like I said, people will much rather recognize you based off of something that you were in. Oh, that's the person that was in that car accident 2 years ago. However, you could have learned so much from that car accident. Maybe you were the passenger and the person that you were driving with was a terrible and reckless person. Not even just behind the wheel, but behind their own life. Maybe they were just terrible at all the things that they were involved in. And you knew from that point on, don't involve yourself with reckless people. And from that point on, you know yourself as the person that doesn't tolerate being reckless and being unorganized and just being a loose cannon. You don't tolerate yourself with people like that. So you know not to associate yourself with that. Yet people will still associate you as the person that was in a car accident. And that's all people care about sometimes. All they care about is what this person been through, how to keep them stuck there, because they don't know you at some point. That's the hard truth about some people, is that they just don't know you. And some people don't like that. Some people just keep like trying to know who you are, but they just don't. And what I mean is, like, we always grow. We are always constantly evolving. We are always constantly coming across new patterns and new things. Meaning, the longer someone has not been around you, the longer they don't know who you are. However, some people just don't like that thought, and they will keep trying to feel like they know you and just keep trying to think about that one situation where they were so involved in, maybe, or they were so informed about what was going on in your life that they'll just keep reminding themselves about it. And like, yeah, I know so-and-so, the person that was doing this, or they were here. However, that was a long time ago, and you will never associate yourself with those occurrences, because that's not how you see yourself. You don't see yourself that lost the final game in basketball. You don't see yourself as the person that broke their knee falling on the stairs. You don't see yourself as the person that failed all the way through high school. You don't see yourself as these people. You see yourself as the person that learned from each and every experience and took that and put it within yourself and made something out of it. But before I end the video, my main thing is, so long as you're doing something right. Just make sure you're doing the right thing. That's all it is. Because, like I said, don't give up on yourself. People can't give up on you down the road, but as long as you keep trying, you keep pushing, that's all that matters. And if you could find someone that's really gonna make sure that you're doing the right thing, which can be rare, but those people tend to be very persistent. If you manage to get your hands on somebody that keeps pushing you in the right direction, listen to them. Stay with them, stay around them, because it's very hard to come across somebody that's willing to support you without looking for something in return or any of that. Some people just want to support you because they want to see you doing good, and that's enough. So once again, yes, if you're doing something, that's good. You're doing the right thing. However, not all things are good things, so you have to make sure it's the right thing. But that's gonna be all for the video. I appreciate each and every one of you guys for listening. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.